that said that you'd be cutting into our income.
Where did that,
I don't think we've even discussed this, and
I don't know where that was said.
Anybody recall hearing that?
I don't.
I don't, I'm sorry.
Was that in a council meeting?
No, it's at a council meeting.
No, state law demands, you have to hook up. We have to have these
I
agreements.
agree. That's why I bring it up. That's why was the statement made that we would not allow it because it's cutting into our income. Our city clerk made it. Made a statement.
That's
I
really
did not,
I don't recall that.
I don't recall it either.
Well, it was said. I mean, we just gotta be careful. You gotta be careful, cause this is a federal law that you can knock out the state law and you can knock out. Can't go making statements like that.
I would
Out of
never
the
have
blue.
made a statement about a law that I know what the law is. I would not have said something like that.
Now, apparently you didn't because of the statement you made. You said that it would cut into our income for the city.
I'm
What?
not aware of the statement.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of when it was said. I'm not aware of the context of when it was said.
Then go back on the video, find it.
Well, irregardless,
We had this meeting set up at at the electric commission for what, we tried for a month ago?
2 months.
2 months now, so.
He could
This
make
was
the
being,
list.
this was being talked about before that.
Well, I
Whatever
didn't
you're talking
say
about.
that. I didn't say that.
Well, I'm just wanted you to ask if this was brought up because of that. He couldn't make the last meeting, but we've talked about this 2 meetings ago in the electric commission. I can tell you that.
And we've had people that have been interested in connecting, and what we've said to them was, hang on, we gotta talk this through and make sure that we're not, you just can't plug these things in and turn the meter on. There's a lot of things that have to be brought into account. And so, like I said, it's gonna take some time for us to get the policies in place.
Well, you gotta have a meter that'll turn backwards or another
Or
meter.
parallel system.
Or a parallel system, right?
Yeah.
But we have to make decisions about how many you would allow on a particular circuit, citing the location of them, what the rates are gonna look like. If you don't have the right kind of meter, and someone's doing work on the line, they think the line has been de-energized, they could get
Yeah, but
electrocuted from the
you don't-
backside.
You don't think that an utility installer that would be installing these here panels would not know what he's doing? This has all gotta be cleared.
Well, if there wasn't any guidelines,
Right.
Yeah.
That's why
That's why-
we're asking for the time.
That's why we're
Guidelines
getting
are
the time
necessary.
to have the policies put in place.
So then, if it takes quite a while, what's gonna happen if the federal decides not to pay a 30% rebate?
I don't know, I can't control what the federal government does.
No, but I know I wouldn't get that 30% rebate, then it would be not be feasible. And there's been talk about eliminating in 2016.
would Tri-County be the one that's more or less administering it or watching over it?
We hope we could come to an agreement with them, but let's say that we can't, let's say that it costs too much. Or he goes back and talks to his boss and he says, we don't want anything to do with it, now we're stuck with having to do this on our own.
And there would be a necessity for somebody that was really experienced to be in management of that.
Yes.
But we as an individual here at Rushford is managing our own utility. We are our own utility company, we're buying it
Right.
off the grid. that's why Tri-County shouldn't have a whole lot to say about it.
Except for they have the expertise in doing this. They've got
Do they currently
distributed
have solar systems?
scores
on-
of them.
On there?
And wind power.
And so,
wind.
so they have these policies and guidelines
They-
pretty
Well,
much
they were,
figured out.
they were part of putting Featherstone
Right.
Right,
with their solars out there.
They do,
But
and
that-
again, that's why the first step is to try to come to an agreement with them as to what it might cost us to hire them to manage the policy. And then Ted or whoever's designee would work with the RME to list out all of the things we talked about the other night. And we would put those all into our terminology and our language. And then at the same time, run it back through zoning, so we take care of all of those other issues. And again, that's why I don't think it'll take a year, but it could. And I just think it's prudent to give us as much time as we think we might need at worst case scenario.
What kind of electricity is being powered by those solar generators or solar panels out there now? Is there any way that they feed that right back into the electrical grid?
They do.
That's where it goes.
But there would seem to be a necessity there to adjust that or have some sort of control over it.
One of the things that was brought up that night at the meeting is the reason we need to have some of these policies and procedures in place is because not every applicant is equal. If one guy comes with something this big and the next guy comes with something the size of this room, he can overpower and actually hurt our system.
Oh, yes.
Or you're feeding power into a system at a time it's not needed. So, do you need
Well,
the batteries?
That's why you gotta know what you're doing, you gotta have the right disconnects, and
Right. And that's,
I'm aware of all that. I've researched it.
but he had some interesting stories for us that night about people that haven't researched it.
I agree.
So,
Well, this is the city's electric grid. This isn't, Tinker Toy set or a kid's, chemistry set in the basement. We have to be careful about this and who we're gonna let hook into our system to make sure that it's done the way that we want it done, so that it's safe and that it's achieving the desired result, which is to
Well, that's
help
gotta,
out the homeowner, but also to, that would enhance our system rather than.
that's all gotta be okayed with the electrical inspector, Dave Woman. It's all gotta be inspected.
That'll be just one of the other guidelines or things that you had to check on.
Right, there's the wiring diagrams and
Yeah.
the meters and,
The installer has to be certified,
right.
and the homeowner has to have insurance. There's all kinds of things that, we were all aware of all of those things.
What's the council's pleasure?
did Ted happen to mention if they have other municipalities
Yes,
that have,
and I'm
Already
trying to
worked through
establish a
this?
working group, no, none of them have worked through it,
okay,
so,
but there are a few that were
There
just
were
on the
three
same
that are-
page that we're at, kinda.
and so I offered to convene a working group and get them together, but again, I don't think any municipal utility in this area is gonna do this on their own. It's too complex. And certainly, we don't even have a lineman on our crew. So, we don't have the expertise to do this.
yeah, well, I would think that the quicker we get started on it, and find out about it, it would make sense, so that we know what needs to be done.
We heard all of that, it's just working through it.
Yeah,
It's gonna take some time.
right.
And from listening to that in the meeting, I would agree with Steve, I don't think we're gonna be a year from now, it should be done. It shouldn't take that long,
Yeah. Understood.
but you never know. So, that's why the EDA thought that